Hello and welcome back. Today is Tuesday, April the 16th. This is week number 15, class number 14. It's been quite the ride from the beginning of the semester till the end. It's never really the end. It's just the last class. I'm sure I will see you guys another time. Tomorrow I'm going to make an attempt to come to your presentations. I heard it's going to be a fun event. And having said all that, today I wanted to cover some of the more advanced topics in Figma, which we didn't get a chance to cover before, and some of the other things that you should consider going forward learning the application. Hope you guys had fun so far, and let's go out strong with one more lesson. This will be a shorter one than the other ones, because I'm going to make sure I have time for the students to ask some questions and stuff. I did bring some textbooks today. I was doing some spring cleaning in my office. They're older books, but they're pretty good. So welcome to come and help yourself pick up a copy for free. And let's get started. The entire screen. All right. As always, let me know if you can see my screen okay. Can you guys see my screen? Very good. Thank you. Oh, for this one here. Thanks. I'm just testing to see if you're paying attention. And I'm going to activate these ones as well. All right. All screens are visible now. I'm going to start with this file right here. This is where we left off. We had a little bit of I think the mobile part of this, we had a little bit of an issue with this component that we made. It wasn't linking properly. I think the issue was I just had to decipher it after. It was the actual, we go to the actual place here. There it is, right? So all these things were pointing in the right direction, except what I noticed was this one had two different interactions, and that's why it wasn't working, my home button. In case you watched my last video and you're like, how come that button wasn't working? Well, that's the reason why I had try to stick with one interaction per button. If you do multiple interactions, make sure they don't clash with one another. Perhaps you want to do a drag and a click, and they kind of do the same thing. So you want to make sure you separate the both. So this is something I just tweaked very quickly. And yeah, we did this last class, the scrollable menu, a nice portfolio way to showcase your work. I mean, you can do tons of different designs using this concept just by following my tutorial from last week. Just to quickly play it out. Just to, on a side note, to make sure this is the first thing you want to show people, make sure you designate this as your flow document. The flow document is set up over here, okay? You can also make a new flow document and a separate one and so on and so forth. All right, so if we just press play really quickly, this is what the site looks like. All right, so we had a nice little interactive website that scrolls to different parts of the page. And the lesson before that, we did a multiple page website. Okay, so that was a good way. You can do either or. And of course, the portfolio being the most important part, you can basically load up these images nice and easily, right? Just like that. Now today, some of you might ask me, well, how do you do an image carousel? And that's something else I'm going to cover today for the mobile version, so you can understand how that can be implemented. And if you don't have a chance to do it this time around, it's something you might want to consider doing in the future, okay? Because I know you're strapped for time and you're stressed out and you have all these things happening at once. No, not to worry. This is always something that you can work on. Just keep in mind, this software, I mean, the more I use it and the more I look at these design communities, it's a really powerful tool, Figma. So it's not going anywhere. Whereas XD, it's kind of, even XD, I looked it up today, it's not discontinued. It's just, you can't purchase it as a separate software. Adobe's still supporting it. You still have XD and you have Figma. So both of these programs are still good. But if I can focus the future, definitely Figma, because of its being independent as a software company and of its popularity amongst the design community. Okay, so Figma is the way to go. And I wanted to show you both, because look, we're an Adobe-based program. All the programs you've been learning is Adobe, right? So when it comes to UX, UI design, we're gonna stick to Adobe, right? But it's unfair for me not to show you what the industry also is considering using for the majority of the part. This is why I threw both programs at you in one semester. But they're very similar, as you know, and just keep practicing and using both as you see fit. All right. So then we went to the mobile version again very quickly here. I'm gonna make this also another flow 2. Okay, this was the mobile version. So I do want you to do a mobile version for your app as well. Okay, and you can actually navigate between different parts of the portfolio and so on and so forth. Okay. Now it works because we fixed it. Let's say on your mobile version, you want to do an image carousel. Like you swipe the images and stuff. Not like the cheap one. When I say the cheap one, I mean the one that you kind of built in with the crop tool, but the one you actually interact with. Because there's an advanced carousel and a basic. And then there's an animated carousel. There's 3 carousels. I'm going to show you all 3. Right? Maybe I'll use this one as an example. Maybe the portfolio page could be the portfolio page with the carousel, right? So, I mean, one way to do it is, I'm just going to make this a little longer here, just to separate it, right? This is the portfolio section. I'm going to move this down here. Maybe I'll put some content over here. Now, while I'm doing this, let me introduce some other cool things. Do you have a question? The thing is now, do you want me to share this file with you later? I'll upload this file so you can have a copy of it, okay? Plugins, okay? Plugins and widgets. Why did I not show you this 3 weeks ago? Because you can cheat using these things. That's why. Plugins can just make stuff up faster for you. You can actually, and I wouldn't even know because you can like load up a project from or some kind of a new plugin that came up and do like a UI kit in 3 minutes. And then convert that to an actual prototype. So that's why I don't want you to have this power because then you can easily falsify things and I wouldn't know. It's like an argument now. No, you didn't. No, you did. Right? It becomes it's not a good learning curve for you. Plugins are good for experienced professionals. So now that let's say, now you are an experienced professional. You're a veteran, you graduated school, you're going to be a professional. Plugins will help you. Okay, so this is what I'm showing you right now. So going forward, yeah, why use plugins? So you don't have to waste time making up icons, filling up Lorem Ipsum texts and layouts and things like that. Right? So let me show you some of the plugins that are available. I need a text box here. Let me go to design here. And I want to put some text. And I don't want to type text. If you go to the menu over here, there's plugins, widgets, and components. Components, we already know what they are. The hamburger menu that we did last week was a component. Of course, we can drag it out and have another menu, insert it wherever we want. It always acts like a component. The plugins are things that help you build your prototypes to a lot more capacity or faster production speed than normal because it'll just kind of speed up the process, okay, in many ways. There's so many different things you can do like font changer, shapes 3D, hues and gradients, autoflow, paginator. These are like the most popular ones. There's effects, right? They're like filters in Photoshop. Widgets are more like a working environment type of extensions. Like a widget, when you use your computer and you have a widget could be like the weather. A weather has a widget, right? Could be the stock market. Could be like a calculator. So it's like a tool. So widgets are more like tools. So if we're working like in a collaboration with a project, I'm going to drop a widget in there. I'll drop one of these guys, okay? This is called the design sprint widget. And you know what a design sprint is? We talked about this since week 1. Design sprint is who does what. If you're doing a group project, this would have been helpful too. Because you can actually put user research, UI mockups, first draft, things to do. So you can utilize this as like a tool for your team. You understand? This is not going to be visible to the public. This is visible for you while you're working with your teammates. Does that make sense? Right. Okay. So basically you zoom in and you're like, well, right? Look, to do, new task, okay? Go shopping, right? Right? So anyways, it makes it there and basically does that. Okay. So that's what these widgets do, okay? Another widget is alignment scale. I don't know some of these. I don't know all of these. Like honestly, they're just right. So this is basically you can get somebody to agree on your alignment scales that you're creating, okay, as a team member thing. Some of these you have to watch the tutorials and stuff. This is kind of cool. The camera one. Look at this one. The photo booth. Yes, we have a photo booth built into Figma. So if you click on this little button, it converts this to like a camera. You can basically go ahead and take pictures. Right? So look, did you guys see that? You missed the whole thing. Watch me do it again. I'll take another picture, right? 3, 2, 1. I'm doing this. Look, it spat out another picture. So it's like a cool little the widget. You can it's called a photo booth widget. It's like a Polaroid camera. So you can go ahead and you know, see these pictures and you know, do some cool stuff with them, right? So your team members can do this for fun. They can do lots of cool things. Remember, it's grab some information and do some other things that are important. Right? Okay. So what else now? Let's see. So that's what these widgets do. You can have a lot of fun with them. Just to work as you're working, you have some fun at the same time. They can help you with produce different type of metrics and evaluations and team member type of capabilities. Okay. Now plugins, on the other hand, are different. Plugins help you build your prototypes and stuff. Okay. So if we want to show you the plugins now, just quickly. Just going to frame the selection for a second. Okay. Move it here. Perfect. Okay, so plugins, I'm going to show you how plugins work in a way that you haven't seen before. I'm going to use plugins to create my portfolio gallery in my mobile version of this website. So first I'm going to generate some text. I'm even going to delete this picture. I'm going to redo this whole portfolio page because I'm not going to do every page again because we've done that for, you know, repeatedly now. I'm going to generate using this plugin. I'm going to show you how easy it is to help you build your mobile website. I know most of you probably haven't even done your mobile site yet, so this will definitely help you, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and, that's why I gave you an extension because I know you got a lot of things happening, okay? But just to get your grades in this class and to get, you know, all the prerequisites done and requirements, that's why. So let's look at some plugins now. Here's the plugins right here, plugins, okay? Animate on path. That's pretty cool. Noise, effects, font changer. Okay, so I'm gonna go and look for a plugin called Lorem Ipsum. You guys know what Lorem Ipsum is, right? So Ipsum will give me the Lorem Ipsum plugin. I'm gonna run this plugin, right? It's gonna say select a layer to generate text, because I don't want to copy and paste stuff. So I'm gonna use the type tool, create a text box, right? And watch this. This Lorem Ipsum plugin will generate how many sentences, okay? A perfect amount of text to fit the layer's name, auto-generate, all these different things. It's like an AI specifically made for these things. So I'm gonna click on auto-generate. And there it is, okay? right? Make this a little smaller. And that's what the text does. Now I'm going to bring some images. So another plugin that can help you with that, is sort of lorem ipsum, is Content Creator. So if I type in content, right? It's going to be Content Creator. There's so many. Content Reel. I like Content Reel. Content Reel is pretty good. I saw some good reviews on this one. This one does everything. Text, images, icons, graphics. So let's go next. Some of them you have to subscribe, become a member, and log in and stuff. Some of them you can just use as they are, like I did with the lorem ipsum. So let's go ahead and start here. Okay, here's my content reel. So I need some portfolio images because I'm doing a mock-up. I'm not really using my portfolio pictures. You might not be doing the same thing. So we're gonna go for some text. So here's the text first. Okay, so if I copy this text down here, number, lorem ipsum, full name, email, like these are just mock-up stuff. URL, currency, fake company names. Let's do a fake company name. Every time I click, it comes up with a different name. It's like a random thing, right? So this could be like a title. Okay. I also want to come up with some icons. Okay. Iconic fabric. Look at these icons here. Okay. Let's go get some fluent icons. These are regular icons by Microsoft. All the different icons you can get. Let's go try these ones here. Right? You can grab any icon. Right? Let's see doing this one here. These are also SVG files. So you can use them and do whatever graphic stuff you want to do with them as well. You can change the color as well, yes. Okay. Put my icon over here. Right? You can also get some images, right? Look at the images, avatars, photos, logos. Look at these famous logos. Look, I'm gonna get my NASA logo. I wore my NASA shirt today. See? Just drag and drop. Or image layer first. Let me just grab an image layer first. Maybe I'll draw like a simple box, and then I'll put the logo in it, and that's gonna generate my NASA logo, right? Perfect, right? Let me now get some other stuff here. Some images like photos, right? Get some of these photos, random. Okay, you can get different photos here. Right, so lots of cool things you can get. There's one called Unsplash. You guys know Unsplash, the website. Unsplash is a cool plugin you can run in Figma. So you can generate images for content as well. So here's Unsplash now running in my background. So I'm gonna go up here and draw like a picture for my portfolio, which I'm gonna do very soon, okay? I have to draw something. I have to draw like a rectangle. If I wanna make this rectangle and place an image in there, you simply pick your Unsplash tool and just simply go ahead and go with it. There it is, right? Right? Just like that. I'll copy some more text down here. And this will be my portfolio image carousel. Let's say I want to do some carousel image with this one here. I'm going to demonstrate that using my Unsplash plugin and my other tools that I have. Okay. I want to make sure my recording is on. Perfect. This recording is on. Good. All right. So to make an image carousel, we need to actually make a few other images. that go inside this area here. We can do one for, you know, the desktop. We can do one for, maybe I'll do both. I'll do one here. I'll do an auto carousel here, which will happen by time. And I'll do an interactive carousel here, which will happen with a click, drag interaction. Okay, so I'll show you two different carousel options. All right. So let's go with the time first. I'm going to use this one here as an example, right? And I'm going to make the carousel in a separate area. I'm going to do it up here. So let me just match this dimension here. I'm going to option drag just to copy this so it's the same size, right? And now I'm going to add a few more images here. So I'm going to grab maybe another one. Look, option drag. Let's put this one in there. Okay. Look at this option. Oh, just Command D. I should have went. Yeah. If you do Command D, it'll give you the exact distance. I'll do 4 different ones. This one's going to be something else. This one's going to be something else. So I got 4 images here. Okay, 4 images. They're going to create this carousel effect in here. And I can close my Unsplash plugin now. Anytime you want to bring up these plugins, you can just go over here and use the last plugin you used. Basically, they're all going to show up here. Lorem Ipsum, Unsplash, Content Reel. They're always going to be there, recently used and saved. Right. Now, the thing is you have to remember is when you make the carousel, is you have to put all these in a frame. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and frame these, or some people like to do this thing called create auto layout. Auto layout does a frame automatically, and it groups the frames nicely. So this is the new one I wanted to share with you as well. Auto layout or frame. What happens when you do auto layout is the images become nice and separated together, right? Now I need different groups of these because I'm going to do some interaction. So I'm going to zoom out a bit and move this up here to make space, okay? So here I'm going to have to do space now. The thing about this frame is I'm going to make it all the way here. You see? I'm making the frame less than the size because it's going to scroll, right? So I got to make it fit that image. But in order for that to work, I got to go ahead and clip the content. So now it's clipping the rest of the images. And you'll see where I'm going with this. Now I'm going to option drag this down here to create the second event, okay? And the same thing goes here. Again, I'm going to click on this. Let's unclip it first, select all these images, and move them over here. Oops, I think that didn't really quite work out. Right, and then frame 14 can be also clipped. Oh, be careful when this happens because it just jumped on the outside. So I'm gonna try to do it. So make sure the frame, you can always keep attention here on the left to make sure everything's nested. Because what happens is this, you can move something out of the position and then it's gonna be outside the frame, okay? So that's why you gotta be careful not to do that kind of stuff. So make sure the frame is together. So I'm going to clip it to show you that it works, but I have to unclip it to move these over to the designated area. So I have to literally do this, move it over here. Oh. I can use the use a shift key. There's frame 14, very good. So how about I do it this way? Sometimes if you select it this way, it's even better as well. Oh, I have auto layout set up. My apologies, guys. I think I have the, I'm just gonna back it up a bit here. Tell you what, I'm just gonna press undo and do a few times. because the auto layout's preventing me from moving it over. I was a little too anxious to show you auto layout. I'll show you auto layout on the next example because it's conflicting with my carousel for my dispositioning the images. So instead of the auto layout, I'm just going to go back to, so if you're watching this video, just kind of rewind it, please. There's the images. Look, 4 images, right? Don't do the auto layout for this one. I mean, you could, but the carousel won't work properly. So I'm going to, instead of that, I'm going to do what's called frame selection. Okay, so frame selection is more like a simplified way of putting everything in a group, creating a frame basically. So do the frame selection, right? And then grab the frame and contract it down to the visible area, which is this image here. And you can clip the content so it hides the rest of the images. Now, I know they both work and it could be deceiving, but trust me, this is better than using the auto layout because it's for more other purposes. So now that we did it properly, let's go ahead and do the same thing. Option drag, here's another copy of it. Select it, unclip it, move the rest of the images over here, right? Select the frame, reclip it. You see that? I'm gonna do it 2 more times. Duplicate the frame down here, unclip it, select all the images, and move the thing right over here. Select. Sorry? No, you can have it like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Honestly, I just keep it nice and perpendicular so I can see what's going on, right? Right. But good question, though. Yes, 100%. I'm going to move this up a bit more. One more. I'm going to copy frame 15, option drag it down here, right? And then unclip it and just basically move everything this way, right? Because it makes sense. We're doing a carousel. We want to make sure all these images move in their own position for every event, basically. And all the events happen here. Back again, we go clip content. See, this one, I moved that out. See, what? If you clip it and these are showing, that means you did it wrong. So I'm just going to go back it up a bit. I think I moved it by accident. Let me clip it again. Okay, so clip. Once the clip works, unclip it. Select all the 4. I think it's too close to this. Let me make some room here. Move it up here. Here. Move this up here. There we go. All right, so now it should be a little easier to control the stuff. So here's frame 16. All right, I'm going to select all these 4 images and basically move them over here. I can even do it this way. It's easier, right? Otherwise, you can click and drag. This is very finicky, so just be careful when you do this. That's why I like to show you how to do unclip it, right? And reclip it. That works too. Right? That way. And then when you're done, click on frame, reclip it, right? The point is this. I made 4 different variations of this image slider that's going to go in here. And that's why we made 4 separate containers called the frame, well, frames, basically. If I unclip it, this is what it looks like, right? So clipped and unclipped. So now it's time to add the interactive stuff. Now we can do 2 things. You can do slide or auto. We're going to do auto for this one, and we'll do slide for the next one. So the auto will happen when you have a sequence of images. Could be more than 4. I just did the 4 to show you that basically you could do, more than enough. The trick is to select all 4 of these, okay? And go over here and you create a component set. Okay, component set is whenever you want to do more like advanced interactions, like these carousel image sliders and stuff. So if I do the component set, this is what it's going to look like. And now we just have to link each and every variable. So this one, for example, in the prototype is going to go to this next one here. It's going to be after delay. This is what's going to happen automatically. 800 milliseconds, sure. That's about 8 8 seconds? Is 800 milliseconds? Less than a second. Yes, 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second. It'll be less than 1 second, sure. It'll navigate to property 1, and it'll be smart animate, and it'll be ease out. I'm going to repeat this process again. This one goes to the next one. It's going to be after delay, 800 milliseconds, which is 1/8 of a second. It's going to go that one. It's going to be smart animate as well. Same thing with this one. After delay, smart animate. And when we get to the end will go back to the beginning. So it's going to be a nice loop back and forth. And it'll be also after delay, right? Change to smart animate. Okay? So now that we set this whole interactive thing up, it's going to be an automated menu. Look what I'm going to do now. I'm going to zoom in here, switch back to my design view, and replace this with the current asset that I just made, which is my component. I should name this actually. Let's name this one. Guess I'll do it here. I'm going to call this one auto or time delay. Time delay carousel. Okay. So because of that now, I'm going to bring this time delay carousel over here. There it is, right? And I'm going to replace this one with that one. Simply by deleting this one and putting this one in its place. So this now carries all the stuff that I did, interactions in this little area. Let's see how it plays out. Can I get a drum roll? All right. I'm not getting a drum roll. All right, that's fine. Let's go to prototype. This will be the flow 1. Here we go. Okay. So keep watching here. Was that too long? Flow 1. Back to flow 1. Let me restart it. Make sure that's my right prototype here. After delay, I mean, was 800 milliseconds too long? Smart animates. Should work. So I did something here. Let's see. Over here. Oh, there it is. Okay. So it just wasn't. Do you see that? See how it scrolls by itself, everybody? So it's just moving by itself, and then it resets back to normal. Okay. Thank you. Well, it wasn't working the first time. I was like, why is it? Sometimes you have to preview it for it to kick in, or the play hesitates to start thing, right? But you can either do an animated, playback or whatever, play this. Yeah. It's a good way to kind of do an automation, right? Automatic slideshow. And of course, this works with everything, of course, and you can go to your other sections and do your normal portfolio. But this is a good way to intrigue people on what you have, right? You can do this on the mobile version or the desktop version. So again, I just did this, and if it didn't work, just drag it again. Sometimes I dragged it the second time. It may be confused with the image that I had, perhaps with the component, and that's why it wasn't working. Let's try the present. Okay, so see, it's not working in the present. It's in the preview only, for whatever reason. That's why it wasn't working for me. So remember, if that happens to you, it's probably just because you have to have it on preview. And then it's going to work. All right. Now let's do the same thing, except this time I'm going to show you how to do a draggable carousel. Okay, when you drag it with your, because remember the the very simple way to do it is if you drag some images here, just to quickly show you, you can make this into a frame basically. So watch this. Right click, frame selection, right, and just make the frame longer like that. Oh, you know what? Actually, it's even better. Let me show you a quicker way. If you want a frame selection, better put your images first. It's a lot quicker. So I'm going to use my plugin to load some images in here. Where's my Unsplash plugin? Here it is. Unsplash plugin. I'm going to make some images right now. It'll take me a few minutes. So here's one. I'm going to use this image over here. Perfect. Option drag shift. Watch this. Command D. Command D. Oh, there's 4 of them. All right. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4. Okay. So this one here is going to be a different image. This one's going to be a different image. Actually, this one should be that one. And this one can be that one. And this one's going to be that one. Notice how they all auto fit nicely within their parameters. So I got 4 images here. I'm going to create a draggable carousel. Well, first I'm going to create a simple one just to show you the difference. So here we did an automated carousel, auto playback. Here I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Select all of them. Frame selection, okay? Make it smaller. Be careful because I think I accidentally, let me select all the 4 first. Frame selection. Alrighty. Already have, this is a frame as well. Okay. 1 second here. Let me just undo this again. Always check your layers to make sure you don't have too many frames selected. So that's a rectangle. Oh, so this is outside of that rectangle. So because I made these after, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to delete this one here, keep these together, and just make another one. Because they're outside this box. That's why it's getting a little. I'm going to bring them this way. There we go. I can bring them in or keep them out. So better to keep them out for now as you make it, then you can bring it in afterwards. So I'm just going to do one more. There. Okay. So maybe it's better to keep them outside before you bring it. Because look, this is a frame, okay? And I'm going to make these into a frame. So keep them separate, perhaps better. And then when you select them like this, you can just right click frame selection, whereas we're opposed to doing it directly inside another frame. It'll mix them up. It does that a lot. Okay, so just do it separately. I always work separately like that. Then you can actually go ahead and go back to design here. You can clip the content, so you can literally only show one image, but the rest are there. If you follow me, the frames do that, right? So I'm going to move this over here, and now I have a frame sitting inside a frame, right? A frame in a frame. This is a frame, and this is a frame. So now, to make this interactive in the simplest way possible is to go to prototype And to basically, the position of this is to scroll with the parent, which is, this is the parent, that's the child, which is inside, okay? But the overflow, you can make it what's called a horizontal scroll. So this will make it very easy for you to kind of navigate, because all you have to do is basically, let me just quickly press play here. Okay. Let's go to bio, portfolio, okay? Close the menu, go down here, and look at this, you see? You can actually scroll this way with your cursor. But the thing about this one is pretty wonky, like it'll just kind of do, you can kind of use it, it's a nice little, and it's not bad, it's a little free-flowing, okay? If you want it more constrained, like drag and it stops by itself, so it's not free-flowing, then you have to make it more interactive. So for a simple kind of solution, this works really well. But for a more interactive solution, you might want to do a click and drag effect. Yeah. You can do arrows too. Yeah. Arrows, you can do this. But let me do the drag, because this one is just like this one now, right? Maybe I'll do the arrows with it. Actually, let me do the arrows, okay? So we'll do the arrows instead of the dragging, okay? Because this one is kind of dragging in its own way. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and close this example. Let's make a interactive arrow carousel. So I'm going to zoom in here. This is the frame that I have selected. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and go outside here, paste. Okay. So it's outside its own little zone here, because it's good to keep things separate than the artboards, right? Always. I'm going to take off the clipboard thing, the clip content, so I can see all of them, right? Because all of these will have to be different individual interactions, right? So again, this is where it's at right here. So clip content, right? So you can see what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and make those 4 states again. So here's 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. And here's 4. Boom, over here. Way on the side. Okay. The reason why I have 4 is because if I unclip, they'll all have 4 images, right? Just like it did with this one. It's no different. This one's going to be very similar. The only difference is there'll be a trigger with an arrow or a draggable trigger to go to the next image. This one was called auto delay. So let's see the difference between the two. All right. I'm also going to use my icon plugin here just to get some icons. Let's see what I have. Icon. Open iconic file. Sure, let's run that. Okay. And I'm going to look for the arrows. There they are. There's the arrows. Perfect. Look at that. Put the arrows in here. I'm going to put this inside my component, so I can put the arrows on the side, or I can put the arrows on the bottom corners. I'll do the corners for now, just to keep it nice and tucked away. And it's inside frame number 14. Very good. I'm also going to make an arrow to go back. Let's go ahead and flip this the other way. So I have arrows to go left and right, and that's going to toggle between all these different things. And perhaps in this first frame, it won't be visible. It'll be visible in the second one, but we're not concerned about that. We're just going to go copy, go to this frame, hit paste, go to this frame, hit paste, and go to this frame, hit paste, okay? So on the last frame, there's no more going forward, there's only going back. Here you can go forward and back, here you can go forward and back, and here you can only go forward. Does that make sense? Right? So forward, back, forward, back, forward. Now let's set the positioning of the images accordingly. So for this frame, I'm going to unclip the images and select all 4 of them. Or just better yet, you know what? Do it this way. So much easier. And simply set this up to the next frame. Okay? And when you're done, you can go and clip the content again so it stays on the next image. Same thing as number 16. Unclip the content. Select all the images affiliated. Oh, be careful. Don't move the frame. Moving the frame here. That's why I'd rather do it this way. I'll select images from the layer palette and simply just drag them over like this. And frame number 16 gets clipped again. Lastly, we have frame number 17. Pick off the clip. Select all the images. Right. Not the frame though. Just the images, and move them over to the right one. Then select the frame and clip it. You see, I did the same maneuver as I did earlier of repositioning the images in a different location. These are all, look, I know it's a lot of work, but once you do this once or twice, it becomes a little easier and understandable how to execute these advanced type of interactions with Figma. Okay? XD is a little different. XD is more like, I think I have 2 separate artboards. It is a little different actually, but the concept is the same. Yes? Okay, but right now I'm in the middle of doing this, so let me finish it. Watch me first. This is being recorded, and you can watch it later. But I'm gonna help. Okay. All right. So here we go. We have four interactions here, and make sure, Abdu, that you have maybe make sure, like if I select this group right here, make sure all my items are in the same layer. If this is outside, the clip might not really work. You see, so you got to make sure everything's nested properly. It happens to me all the time. Like I already glitched like 3 times showing you this. I have to do it again. Remember, I messed up the first time too. So it happens, right? Just be patient. Always be vigilant by looking at your layers and your structure on the left side. Okay, so again, I'm going to help you, but let me just keep going here. So let's go ahead and now do the interaction with these things. So basically what's going to happen is this. All these frames will become a component, not just one component, but a component set. Remember when you do advanced type of interactions, you're making a component set. We did components 4 weeks ago. Remember the little switches and knobs and stuff? Those are components. And multiple components means multiple switches and stuff. But when you do a set, like this one, to do an interactive carousel, you always want to make a set. So just, you know, kind of remember that. So the set includes more than one function. So we're going to go ahead and make a set. And this becomes a whole component set. Then we go add the interactivity. So I'm going to go ahead and make this little button here. This little button here, I'm going to go to prototype. And this little button will go to the next sequence. On click, change to property 1, animate, smart animate, and OK, right? This little arrow here, you got to double click on it. We'll go back to the previous one, on click, change to property 1, smart animate. This little arrow here is going to go to the next one. It'll be the same thing, on click, smart. It's all set up actually. You just have to keep going. This one will go back to that one. On click, change to smart animate. Okay. And this one will go to the next one. On click, change to smart. We want it to animate. We don't want it to just instantly show up like that. We want it to make it nice and smooth. And lastly, this little arrow here will go back to this one. It'll be on click, change to smart animate. So once we added all these interactions, you can see here how this is all now should be flowing nice and properly. I'm going to go back to my, move this component set over here. Basically go back to my assets, go back to design, and exchange this one for the actual component that we made which is the, let's rename this one here. This is called carousel with arrows. Okay. Carousel with arrows. Like I said before, we're going to replace this one with that one. You always, always, always leave it from here, drag it from your local components down to your artboard. So basically you're dragging it here. This one is going to go back to layers here. Just make sure it's in the portfolio mobile artboard. So this goes away and this gets inserted in here. See how it highlights nice and blue? That's the sign you want to see. So this is now inside my mobile portfolio. And you can see that right here, right? Okay, fingers crossed. Let's hope it works. Here we go. Let's go to portfolio mob, press the play button. It should work in the presentation view. If not, I'm going to change it to the other one. So bio, portfolio, and contact. And the portfolio obviously extends. We're going to go down to the portfolio section. And here's when we click on the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the previous one, the previous one, and the previous one. How's that? Right? There we go. So again, this is a fully interactive, scrollable portfolio, and it's nice. It's animated, right? Yeah. So you can easily implement this in your HTML after, right? It's a beautiful little thing, It's nice. So now I kind of showed you all the different components. There's one more. If the arrows don't work, how about if you drag? Oh, look, it's actually draggable too. It's draggable. And you can actually click on the arrows, right? You can do both. And some people put little dots and stuff, whatever you're into, okay? You're into dots or you're into arrows, okay? I don't know, what's your thing? So you guys figure it out and put it in there. Okay, now one more thing I want to talk about. So plugins, it's a discovery thing. You have to look, okay? Like me, I'm like every day, what's a new plugin? I watch like a YouTube video before I go to bed. I'll look at like top 15 Figma plugin video and I'll see what the other people think about that. And I'll pick my favorite 3. So always educate yourself, right? And 2, let's look at how the auto layout works. Another thing you can look up on your own if you want to experiment with that. So let's go ahead and check that out. I'm going to zoom out here, okay? I'm going to put this file away because this one is done. Okay, I'm going to rename it actually portfolio complete example. Complete means has all these other things. I'm going to save this and upload it onto the thing so you can access this file. I'm going to go ahead and save this as a local file. Okay, and upload it on today's lesson, which is the last lesson of the semester. On the desktop, save. If you go under your, class here, the last lesson here, 13 and 14, this was the old one, eh? So this is all XD files. If you want to kind of check them out, you can. But the newer one I'm going to add is this one here. So I'm going to upload a file from the desktop. There we go. So this is the one you want to look at, the complete one. This is the other one, plugins at a glance, XD. Some other files you can look at, but please remember the top 2 are the ones, the top one is the one you want to look at. Okay. All right, so let's go back to our program here. I'm going to close this down, basically create a new file. Okay, and I have something prepared for you here. It's called auto layout. Okay, so this is the example that I made. Okay, what is auto layout? Auto layout is a responsive measure in Figma for when you create your more complicated or complex design layouts. They just kind of go with the flow, basically. Like, when you do responsive design, that kind of stuff. Now, it's not necessary, but every designer will argue and say, if you're not a professional, if you are a professional, you should be using auto layout. It just makes things so much easier. That's the argument. So if you're going to more advanced use of the program, I want to make sure, I give you guys all the necessary tools. And auto layout is definitely something you want to consider, not just putting things in frames and groups and stuff, although that works too. This is more like advanced and a smarter way to go about it. Okay, so let me show you exactly how this works. I'm going to recreate this little thing here. This is called just a frame with a bunch of boxes in there. Look what happens when I resize this. Look, see, the boxes are always centered, see? Because auto layout enables that to happen, okay? So how did I make auto layout for these boxes? Okay, well, basically, you can just draw any 4 items. Let me just demonstrate that with the rectangle tool here. I'm going to draw a rectangle here, right? Just a simple rectangle, right? And I'm going to go 1, option drag here, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 rectangles. They're going to change different colors. This one's going to be a different color. This one's going to be a different color, right? So if I select these 4 rectangles, right, instead of putting them in a frame, I'm going to right click and put them inside what's called, so before we did frame selection, not anymore. That's for the carousel stuff. If you're doing carousel, you should still use frame selection. But if you're doing layouts, you should consider doing add auto layout. And there's a shortcut, Shift A, which enables this function to apply itself. So if you do auto layout, you might even have an option here. Look, auto layout with the plus button. You can do it that way too. So this way or this way, plus button. Once this becomes an auto layout, by default, it basically puts all these items into like a group, right? And the special thing about this is when you resize it, it's like think of it like a classroom. And you guys are inside the classroom, like the parent and the child kind of analogy, right? So these are like the children inside that container. So what happens now is this container dictates how the children should behave, like parents dictating how maybe kids should behave. So what I'm going to do here now is go over here and center them. See the alignments over here on the right? I can center, I can tell them exactly how to behave. I say, you know what, I want you to be centered. No matter what happens here, you should always stay centered, you see? I can also tell them to stay to the left, to the right, to the corner, and they're always going to stay in that position like a sticky, prerequisite position. So I'm going to keep it in the middle for now. This is just the basic how auto layout works. Now, the more advanced thing to do it is when you create labels and buttons. This is when you can create more variables, and trust me, this is even stuff that I'm still trying to figure out because it's confusing when you create multiple variables and states and buttons. But to simply put, you can put a label like this, just a text box. I'm gonna put a text here, okay, and just call it and just type button, right? So this button here, okay, because it's a text box by default, this is in the center, left. Look at my mouse cursor on the right here. I'm controlling the text like in InDesign when you put the text box properties. Middle, look, top, middle, bottom. Remember, there's like 9 different configurations. So the text box is basically perfectly centered as a button should. Now, on top of that, I'm going to convert this into a auto layout. Okay, so if I do auto layout, by default, the parameters, and this is new, guys, hug and hug. Who wants a hug? Hugs. We're hugging the text. So the container is hugging the content. What does that mean? That means if you go over here, let's change the color first. I'll change it to, I don't know, maybe yellow or green. See the button here? Right? Because it's set to hug, if I type in 01, it hugs the content, you see? So if I type in the stuff, it'll open by itself. So it's dynamic, right? So as much information you put in there, it's going to extend. You don't have to think about resizing the button every time you put a different menu, right? Because this could be like portfolio, right? Right? Or something else. That's why these things are very, very good. So let's say you have another button, right? And this button could be, home, right? So you see how advantageous it is to have these hugging parameters, okay? And literally, I'm not making stuff up. That's what's called hug. 2 hugs, not one. What's better than 1 hug? 2 hugs. Vertical, horizontal, and vertical. Right. Okay. So basically, the next thing is now advanced configuration with these auto layout settings. So what you have here is frame 13, and I have multiple. I got the hug content, fixed width, fill height, fill width, fixed height, and fill width and fill height. What's the difference? Well, the difference is the hug content works in terms of scalability. So you can put more content and it leverages the sizes and stuff. This one stays fixed, but it fills up the height based on the parent. This one does exactly that, and this one fills that one there. So to demonstrate this last example, I'm going to draw basically, the buttons first. I'm going to take this. Let me create new ones actually. So I'm going to create a text box again. Okay, just draw a text box here and call this one hug. All right. Shift A, which means convert to auto layout. Okay, it'll be automatically set to hug and hug. And my fill will be something else. So there's the hug contents. Just gonna put some, just to extend it a bit. Now, if you wanna round the edges, you have to do it this way. So I'm gonna put like 15, I like 15, that works well with these numbers. So this is basically a hug parameter content. And that's all it took, was just for you to think. And the good thing about this is you can just type in more info and it extends like that, right? So that's why the hug content works really, really well. The next one, okay, is called fix width and fill height. Basically, I'm just gonna copy this over and just, change the color of it to something else. I'm gonna use a nice orange color here. And like it said, fixed width, fill height. So instead of having this hug parameter on, I'm going to do fixed width, which is whatever the width is. Now this becomes available for you to type in. Notice how the height you can't type, it's grayed out, but the width is, because you're telling it to be fixed, not auto, right? So you're basically fixing the width, and you can type any parameter you want, but you don't have to. I like 231, okay? Although you could go more or less, right? Let's do 230. But the height will be fill. So the height will be so fixed width, fixed height. So make sure I can. You know what it is? I don't have I need to have another container to get the fill option to show up. That's why it's not showing up. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna call it, for right now, I'll just do fixed and fix, and I'll change it later to fill, okay? No big deal. Let's keep going here, and we'll rename this one fixed, fixed width. This one's a little small letters there. And I'm gonna hit return, and we're gonna do fill height. Okay, and of course we're gonna just for the sake of the, I'm gonna just reposition it here like that, and I can change it after. Okay, next one's gonna be fill width and fixed height. But you know what? Let me, instead of doing all four, I'm gonna demonstrate this in two. I think it's easier to comprehend because it does get a little confusing and like, well, how many different things are there? Well, as many as are available on the software. So you have fixed, fill, and hug. Those are the three. Okay. So this one's hugging, as you can see. This one's fixed. And I'll do one more here. Okay. This one's going to be something else. This one's going to be fill width and fill height. fill width, and fill height. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna have all three there available for you. Now here's the trick here. Here's the thing. This is when it gets advanced. When it be advanced, this is it. So you know how these auto layout work now individually, but independently, you can group them into another nesting parenthood. So these three auto layouts can belong in a bigger auto layouts, like the father, okay? So this now, the whole thing could be Shift A, could be another auto layout, and I'm gonna keep this centered here. So frame 21 will hold those auto layouts in that auto layout. Now the benefit of this is because you have ultimate control with these parameters based on this setting. Again, you don't have to take this software too far, but in case some of you are, looking for a little more knowledge and you want to just be more kind of proficient in the software, this is the stuff that professionals use, and I wanted to share that with you. So don't worry if you don't get it just yet. You have to practice a few times. It's not something that everyone can do, okay? So let's go ahead and make this, we'll make it like a nice color here, like a grayish white, right? Maybe a yellowy color. Okay. Right? So now what happens is this. Look at this now. I resize this and they stay centered, right? But if this here, if I change it to fill height, see how it says fixed? I'm going to go fill container. Look at the height, it fills. You see that? Right? So basically, whatever I do with this frame now, this one always fills the height, right? This one on the right, I'm going to fill the width and the height, or just fill the width. I'm going to go here and do the width will be fill container. So no matter what I do here now, it's always going to be filling the container. But it's still going to respect the neighbor beside it, which is this little space right here. Right? But that's why that's it. But you can also control that, right? Back and forth. But if I do this one for both fill width and height, it's going to be the whole thing. So the whole thing now becomes both. You see? That's the benefit of using these advanced auto layout properties. It's like CSS. It's CSS and HTML, but it's more visual. You're controlling it in a visual fashion using a bunch of checkboxes and palette options to control these variables. And this is basically how you can really take this program to the next level by learning these auto layout techniques. And have another example here I made. This is an auto layout with a bunch of boxes. Watch what happens now. Let's say I want to put this little circle in there. Oh, by the way, if this is set to, watch this, auto layout, it's got this return feature. Not this one, but this one. This one means, okay, wrap, which is the return key. What happens when you resize this? Look what happens. They resize for you, right? So it's a good way to resize your layout for other specific use. And you know what also happens is when you decide to move something in like this one, you see you want to move it in, it becomes part of the group. It joins the group when you move that. Let's say you want to reposition this. Watch this, the arrows, left, left, down, right, right. You can change the position of it once inside the auto layout. So there's a lot of benefits of doing this auto layout feature. You can always move it out or move it back in, right? So you see, like unlike any other program I've seen, this is really cool stuff. Auto layout, definitely something you should invest your time into learning. If this video wasn't enough to convince you, to watch some other ones and you can see what I'm basically trying to get across. But this one covered everything anyways. If you want to take it, the next thing you can do is try it for yourself, right? And see how you can come up with these things. Okay, so that about wraps it up. So now I'm going to save this exercise again and upload it on the server. So let's go ahead and in the server, Blackboard, that's what I meant. So save a local copy. I'm gonna give you the auto layout as well. And you can access that with Blackboard. So back here again, I'm gonna upload the other file for you called auto layout. Definitely worth checking it out. They make it visible. Okay, so please, when you get a chance, look at these files, and I'm sure it's going to help you understand this stuff a lot better if it didn't already. Okay, so that about wraps it up. Basically, I wanted to cover plugins, widgets in a nutshell. auto layouts, carousels. These are bells and whistles that most websites and mobile apps have. So with that, hope you guys enjoyed my course. I don't like saying goodbyes, but it's been always a pleasure having you here, and I wish you all the best of luck going forward. Hopefully, I will see you tomorrow at the portfolio night. So I look forward to seeing your work there. And keep in touch with LinkedIn. I'm always available on LinkedIn if you guys want to continue our professional network. And subscribe to my channel because I'm always going to do more videos now. So if you guys subscribe, you get all my videos and stuff forever. Okay, so wherever you guys are around, we're always a family. Okay, so thanks for watching. Good luck. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Milo, wait.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was wondering, how do we convert our prototype into a functional app?
Oh yeah. So let me cover that actually 1 second. How do you? Let me show you some other plugins that are available for that. I'll be honest with you, a lot of them are tricky. You have to get a membership and stuff. But let me show you that as well before I wrap it up. Actually, so I'm glad you brought that up here. Give me 1 second.
Thanks.
Yes, this is something we talked about. How do you convert Figma to like HTML websites, right? So here's the thing. There's two programs that I know that are kind of out there promoting these services. So Anima for Figma, okay? So check this out here. Figma to Code, automated, for free. So go through that. Watch the tutorial. I can't do it right now because it's long, but basically watch on how this is done. Figma to Code, automated, okay? So I'm gonna put the link in the description here so you can watch it. Let me go back to my channel here. So under today's lesson, okay, again, I'm gonna go ahead here and enter this link. So I'm gonna create a link. This is basically Figma to HTML using Anima. This is, again, what I usually get as a response when I look this stuff up. So check this one out. Okay, so watch again, go to the website, check it out. Like it's a lengthy process. It's not that easy, but it's well worth investing time into. Okay, one more. Let me show you another one. PX Figma. And let me show you how to access PX from your Figma application. Because if you go to Figma, right? Let me open up my let me open up this website design here. Right? So watch this. If I go over here and you look for the plugin, okay, and you type in PX, and you're gonna get the PX Figma to HTML plugin, okay? So this is called PX Code. So PX Code is another website that will help you generate responsive websites from Figma to this. Again, I haven't had the chance to explore the full execution on this, but hey, it's well worth it checking it out. PX Code, okay, and Anima. Those are the two methods. There's other ones out there, but those are the two I would suggest. So when you have some time later, check it out, okay? Check it out. I'm going to go ahead and add that also to our list of links here. Another link. So this is PX Code to HTML. It gives you like React, other more advanced options to do this, okay? So PX Code, and that's also there, okay? So again, check it out, and that should help you do that part. It's not as easy as 1, 2, 3, unfortunately, okay? Because even if I was to try to do it right now, just to show you, like I run PX Code from the plugins, right? It's gonna ask you to select the layers, to select the desktop layer. Look at this, convert to code, right? It's gonna analyze the images, and it's gonna continue And then you're going to continue with your Google account, right? Sign up and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. Connect complete. So I can go back here again. And time delay carousel. I'm going to ignore that issue. Continue. Download PX code file. Okay, so I'm going to save it on the desktop basically, or I can open the project. And the projects here, you have to do, they're going to ask you to do tutorials to learn their system. And I honestly didn't get a chance to do all of them. I already did this one. I think I'm on these two. Watch the tutorials, and then they'll help you guide to the next step. So basically follow their simple tutorials on how to work with their system, okay? So I'm giving you the tools to do it. It's up to you what you do with it, okay? I wish we had more time to do this, but this is just one of those membership things. So the links are there. If you go back to your, I gave you the links for that, converting your Figma to HTML files, Anima, and PX code. Those are the two. Check it out. Alrighty, so that kind of wraps it up. I'm glad you asked me that question, actually. So thanks for asking me. That was good. And that was Becky, right? Yeah, very good. Okay, so again, any other questions before I wrap it up? Because I'm still recording this session. That's good. Okay, again, I wish you farewell. All the best. Good luck with your future endeavors, and I'll see you guys soon, and keep in touch with LinkedIn. Bye for now.
Bye, Milo. See you
Bye-bye.
tomorrow.
Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.